Okay, we are halfway through the legislative session. Some of us are watching those days, and we had a record number of bills, right?
1,353 for a state that
every year is a brand new record.
Conservative state that doesn't want laws. We are.
Yes, we seem to find ways.
We find them.
We find ways. So, want to talk about some of the bills that are still kind of on the table right now, the ones that are being vetted, and just something that you're watching. Let's go down the line. Thomas, with you, what are you watching still?
Well, Dan McKay's House Bill 344 will deal with the replacement of a vacancy in the U.S. Senate seat. And that doesn't seem like a big deal right now, but if there were ever a vacancy down the road in the U.S. Senate, it would be a huge deal. So looking at that outline of how the replacement process would work, the power given to political parties, the governor's role in that is something that I'm very interested in and I'm watching closely.
It's kind of taking the governor's role out of that.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I think it was a byproduct of what happened when Jason Chaffetz resigned. People still really started to look in Utah, okay, it's been a long time since somebody in our federal delegation has resigned. What is the replacement procedure? And I think that's probably the impetus of this bill. Not that it didn't turn out great. Representative Curtis is great, but I think just clearly defining it. But it matters a lot, and when you don't have a vacancy, it can be overlooked. So it's really important for everyone to look and make sure they're comfortable with it in case there ever is one.
I think a lot of people were surprised that we did not have a mechanism for replacing Congressman Chaffetz.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh? And it's good to see that they're addressing that issue, so I'm watching that one.
Thank you very much. Nicole, what are you watching?
A couple issues on the subject of record bill files. I noticed that Dan McKay has a resolution that would make public by legislator the amount of bills they request at the beginning of the session. I think maybe he was pointed to, are you the one that had so many 80 bill files?
Everyone thought it was him, that's true.
And he got tired of that, so he has this resolution that would make that public. I'm also watching for liquor law changes. If it's booze, it's news in Utah, right? So there's the .05 DUI law that passed last year, and they're hoping to tweak that a little bit before it goes into effect at the end of the year. Doesn't look like it'll get changed much. There is an effort to delay that, but not sure how that will fare. They're looking to change it a little bit so that new immigrants to Utah can, there was an issue with new immigrants being novice drivers, so they're going to change that. Also, there is a bill that would affect if you have a firearm and you're at .05, which might be an issue. Also, beer. With these big breweries and states all over the country moving away from 3.2% beer going to 5% beer, Utah is like one of the few remaining states that is taking that product, and these big breweries are deciding that they're going to be done making it. So Utah will only have a couple years before that product runs out and will maybe start to disappear from store shelves. So the legislature may have to change the definition of beer to allow 5% beer on grocery store shelves. But who knows if they'll get to that this year.
Okay, that's a good one.
Oh, they're all great. I've been really close with the homelessness issue from the Pioneer Park Coalition perspective, and I want to see that completed, the cycle of the funding for the homeless, and make sure that these resource centers get up. And you know, it's a big lift. It's $67 million. Speaker Hughes and President Niederhauser have taken a real leadership role on it. Representative Elison has the bill. Unfortunately, it hasn't come out yet. But if we don't do something, Ben McAdams has threatened to pull all his support away from that. So I think we have to finish that job. We're making progress. We've had over 3,111 arrests out of that down there in the Rio Grande area. 20% have been genuinely homeless. The rest have had residence throughout the state, and they just go down there, and that's where they do the drugs, the sex, and the exchange of firearms. So we've got to fix this problem for our capital state. It's not a political issue. It's about doing the right thing for those who stand in need.
Scott, you've done a great job. There's a lot of citizens that have really stepped up on homelessness, and you don't get a lot of the credit, but you've done a lot of the work.
Well,
and I applaud you for that.
You are kind, but Thomas, it's been a team effort, and you know that. It truly has been, and you've played a role. It's a team effort, but it's something that had to happen for a capital city.
All right. Thank you for your insights on this legislative session.